The cool thing about these high-powered suspension wheels is it turns you into a Stairmaster. It's the newest from Veteran, the Lynx, and this thing is sweet. It's got a massive controller, 2800 watt-hour battery, and it's got that awesome suspension that we've seen on the Patent and Sherman S. Well, let's stop jibber-jabbering and let's get opening. Voila! Aesthetically, it reminds me of the Patent and the Sherman S, but it is a 20-inch tire, massive 14-inch rim, and we're gonna see what this thing's all about. One thing about this is it's only 88 pounds. Usually, these companies come with these stock pads, and almost always they suck. Somewhat of a pad, it came with this thing to hold down your toes. I would have liked for something to come stock without having to purchase an extra third-party accessory. I prefer using my own pads, and so I love that they've left it a blank canvas. We're just gonna have to figure out which pads we're gonna use for that. It's 151.2 volt output at 5 amps. Pretty sweet to see these things keep getting more powerful. It's like an arms race with these electric unicycles. As soon as someone comes out with what they think is the biggest battery or the most powerful motor, then someone tries to one-up them and come out with something faster. But you know, in my book, it's not just power and speed, it's also quality. Let's charge this up. Then we're gonna get our safety gear on, and then let's go take it for a spin, go over this wheel. We'll tell you guys what we think about it. What do you think? Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, we have a freshly charged battery on the Veteran Lynx, got our safety gear on. Now let's go find a spot. Let's do a walkthrough from top to bottom on this brand new powerful electric unicycle. All right, this is a hefty electric unicycle. It's bigger, it's more powerful. It's got a bigger battery than its predecessor, the Patent. It's just an overall bigger wheel. But the cool thing is they've been able to keep the same weight as the Patent. How can they do that? Make a bigger, more powerful wheel, yet keep it at the same 88 pounds. Yeah, they've introduced a lot of magnesium alloy in this. The battery case has shed a lot of weight. The controller base that acts as a heatsink has went from cast aluminum to a magnesium alloy mix. And also the motor has gone from a 12-inch to a 14-inch motor, and it's only 1.5 pounds heavier than the predecessor. It's surprisingly light, curiously light. I don't know how they did it. 91. With pads on it, without pads, probably is 88 pounds. Yeah, that's pads, Velcro, lightweight. So the motor got bigger, yet it's just slightly heavier. Pretty amazing that they've been able to do this and pack so much power. It's got a 2700 watt-hour battery and 151.2 volt system. And with that type of system, you're able to get more efficiencies that we've never been able to see before. Hopefully that translates into a better ride experience. So this is a 14-inch rim with a 20-inch tire. eWheels is going to offer this in 2 different tires, the Kenda K262 knobby tire and the CST C6501 street tire.
Oh, and for all you tire snobs out there, eWheels will be offering the CST C6501 street tire as a tubeless tire, which will help with flats and also prevent pinch flats from tire changes.
The motor is a 3200 watt motor with a peak output of 8,000 watts. To me, it looks very similar to the Sherman S and Patent, just a little bit different shape and size. You did have that fast-A suspension showing in the center, but we did cover that up with Velcro. Identical suspension system, but they do offer it in a higher rated coil. Here, you'll adjust the suspension. To adjust the preload, you bring this out with, I think it's like a 19mm socket wrench, and you can bring this out depending on what type of riding you're going to be doing. Trolley handle in the rear. It's not terrible, actually. I was worried of it being in the rear. It doesn't really get away from you unless you kind of go at a fast turn, so it is pretty well balanced. 2 handles, which is nice for braking and also lifting the electric unicycle up, but there is no kill switch, so the way we get it to go in the kill switch mode is just basically leaning it over as far, and then it'll just shut off. The handles are made of a very durable material, a combination of some plastic, some metal, and it just feels strong. The light in the front is what we've seen on a lot of the Leaperkim wheels. Moving to the rear, we have 2 lights. It acts as a brake light when you go to stop. I'll show you what it looks like. Kind of flashes. And then it also has turn signals, which are pretty worthless because they only engage once you start turning. And by that time, you're already turning. So the charge ports are back here. They're pretty well sealed and they're pretty easy to access as well. We have a nice fender. It's protected by this nice kickstand. The kickstand is very durable and actually very solid. This is the first time that we've seen the toe wedge come in an unboxing, but really neat feature that's nice because you can adjust this up and down and it's part of the wheel. It's great for leverage for when you're jumping the wheel. Also great for making sure you stay on the wheel when you're going off-road and on some bumps and drops. And then let's talk about these oversized pedals. These are big pedals, and so if you have big feet, you're going to enjoy this. If you have small feet, you're going to enjoy the extra space to move around. They do come with little spikes, and it's got this hexagonal pattern to make them lighter and to make it so that if you have dirt, mud, ice on your shoes, that can fall off. They feel like they're friction mounted. So the battery is a 2700 watt hour battery, but where the magic happens is this is connected to a special brand new controller. Supposedly the controller can have an output of 840 amps at 150 volts for astonishing 126 kilowatts, which is just nuts. I really don't know if that's true, but if it's anything close to it, this wheel is supposed to be extremely powerful. We're gonna see if we can get that 77.7 miles an hour as advertised. 72.5 is what it said? 72 point something, yeah. Yeah, 72.5. Not quite hitting the 77.7, but still really fast. I probably would go about 45, 50 on here. So even if you don't plan on going 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, knowing that you have the power to do so means that you can safely ride at 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. Nice fit and finish. No exposed wires. This looks like something that is meant to be on the road, and we're excited to take it on the road. So let's stop talking and let's get riding. So we are going to do a little speed run. But I did hit 42 miles per hour with ease. That was really nice. Felt ultra stable. Didn't get any weird oscillations on it. It didn't take a lot of effort at all. The 151 volt system does feel very powerful. I would have expected just a little bit more bottom end torque for a 151.2 volt system. When I went to go grab the handlebar, if you don't grab it in the very center, it does cause you to have a little bit of oscillation, but if you just lean back completely, it does have excellent stopping power. Well, let's go ride, and then we'll find a place to stop and talk about the things that we love about this electric unicycle. Let's talk about the things that we love about this EUC, the Veteran Lynx. I love the overall look of it. The Veteran EUCs have been some of my favorite. I've been a big fan of just the original Veteran Sherman and the Sherman Max. I love whatever secret sauce they put into it with the ride feel. For me, I just really enjoy riding Veteran wheels, and the Lynx is no different. I do love that this has two beefy handles, makes it easy to pick up and lift. And it's only 88 pounds, so not too heavy. Yeah, the 88 pounds is key because, as we mentioned before, it's the same weight as the smaller Veteran Patent, yet much more powerful with a bigger battery, more range, more speed. The fact that they've been able to do that and keep it at 88 pounds is pretty mind-boggling. And speaking about the power, I love that this is a 151.2 volt system. I'm 220 pounds. I can overpower wheels very easily, especially climbing up steep hills. I feel a lot of pedal dipping. I've yet to feel pedal dipping at all. Putting this through some strenuous tests of climbing hills fast and hitting hard bonks. From a standstill, Andrew's gonna go up this steep hill. The 151 volts did kick in, and I just cruised up that hill with zero effort. He made it look easy on that one. Pretty incredible. When you went up on the Lynx, it was like a breeze. It was almost like you were going downhill. I'm gonna try going up this hill because a lot of wheels struggle because it's pretty steep and it's pretty rutted out. But let's see what 151 volts looks like going up this hill. Yeah, that was nice. No motor groaning, and I felt zero pedal dipping. The whole construction, the fit and finish, it's very nice. Even though it's made of both metal and it has some plastic parts, the plastic doesn't feel cheap. I've always liked Veteran's lights. This one is awesome because you can also adjust the angle. So you can adjust it to point down so you're not blinding oncoming pedestrians. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, you can turn it up and it's very bright. I really like the suspension. This suspension is rock solid, and there's none of that clunking noise that we get from most of those other EUCs that have suspension in the rear. The pedals are big, spacious. The spikes are really aggressive. The pedal, I didn't have any problems with it. It felt good. With the toe wedge, I felt locked in, and I do really enjoy the toe wedge, the fact that it's adjustable, in addition to the flat surface where you can put whatever pads you like.
A lot of times the kickstands are almost like an afterthought on these EUCs. You can pretty much blow on the wheels and they'll fall over. This one feels nice and stable. One other thing to add to Jimmy saying that he likes the fit and finish on this is the protective pieces that they've put on the wheel. You'll see the whole battery case is protected on the bottom, the rear, the side.
If you were to have a bad crash or rollover, a lot of these parts are replaceable. We've purchased and received many EUCs from eWheels. We've never been disappointed by their service. Anytime we've had problems, they've taken care of us. We are going to keep riding. It is super windy out. While we ride, if the wind's not too bad, we're going to talk about the things that we don't like about this EUC. Let's talk about the things that we don't like about this electric unicycle, the Veteran Lynx.
For me, the rear light is pretty dinky, it's not very bright, and those turn signal things are very gimmicky. They just might as well be a brighter light without turn signals.
Yeah, and I'm riding behind Andrew, so I see it all in action. And so when he's carving, it just looks like a schizophrenic light show. One of the other things that we don't like about this wheel is the fact that it didn't come with any other pads. It's nice that you have a nice flat surface to put on your own pads, but sometimes you just want to be able to ride it out of the box.
Okay guys, this just in, I've been told that orders from eWheels.com will include pads, fairing plates, and a seat with their purchase.
The other thing for me is, why do the beeps have to be so loud? Holy cow. This thing is like a showstopper, especially if you go into a store, ever have to turn it off. It's going to be beeping loud, almost as if you have a time bomb on you.
And the beeps also go for when you're adjusting the menu, when you're playing around with those buttons and adjusting your settings.
And sort through there.
It gets annoying hearing that loud beep every time you're pushing on those buttons.
Yeah, it's very ear piercing.
And we are just racking our brains trying to think of things that we don't like about this wheel. And I think that's it. Can you think of anything else, Andrew?
No, it's a pretty sweet wheel.
I mean, it's a solid wheel. So that brings us to who we think should get this wheel. If you're a fan of the Veteran brand, then you should definitely check this out. It's got veteran craftsmanship. It feels solid. It rides solid. Veterans pretty much hit a home run.
For me, I think this is an excellent choice for heavier riders who want some extra safety margin. The fact that it has a 151.2 volt system, a pretty decent sized battery, good suspension that you can choose up to the 70-pound coil. This is an excellent heavy rider wheel.
Huge speed, great range, excellent power, the biggest electrical system we've ever seen yet on EUC, all packaged in an 88-pound body. Pretty impressive. If you guys have any other questions, check out our freshly revamped website, freshlycharged.com. Thanks for watching, and when you guys ride, wear your safety gear.